Welcome back. It's time for Open Mic, where we get real and we talk about matters that are close to young people. So tonight, as we mentioned, it's all about universities and the unrest that we're seeing, both public and private ones. We have a great panel here at studio tonight. A different kind of way, should I say.
Today it's a full house, and by the way, these guys are serious about this, are seriously going to discuss about these matters, because if you look at them, by the way, they're not at your regular panel. It's a big panel right here, and we also want you to be a part of this. Hashtag Youth Cafe at Brian_Selly, at Zinzi_K, at KTN News. We want you to tell us what are some of the things that should be done to make sure that wase warudi back daro, na pia mamode bado wakanjwe do yao, na get vitu kama hizo. We want to know solution in live na sisi ndo tunafaa kudiscuss maneno tujue exactly nini itafanyika.
Exactly, so make sure you're using the hashtag Youth Cafe. That's how you can chime into this conversation. So allow me to start with Andrew at my far right, because you already have the mic. Andrew, you've been a student leader before at Catholic, right? Right now, with the current situation that we're seeing in universities, more so the public universities, it's, a crisis with the lecturer strike. Today is day 44.
Right.
As a student, more so, how does this make you feel? And do you think that the government and the teachers will come to an agreement anytime soon? Because truly, at the end of the day, it is the students' time that is being wasted.
Yeah. I think the lecturer strike has serious repercussions, particularly on the part of students. The students are feeling the weight more than everybody else. We could also say parents are feeling the weight for the reason that they could be taking care of their students' fees and their accommodation when in real sense the students are not in school. But to be specific, the students are feeling the weight because they are not attending classes. They are taking a lot of time in school. They are not able to finish the school in time. And particularly in our public universities, most students who are there are needy students, to put it that way.
Right.
And their families are depending on them solely, or wholly, to say it. And when a student who is supposed to take 2.5 years or 4 years in school takes 8 years, I think it not only affects him, but affects the whole community as well.
All right. Yeah. Let me throw it to this side. Kindly introduce yourself. And do you agree with what he says, that at the end of the day, it's the students that are suffering? He says that you're supposed to take 4 years in school and you find yourself having doing 8 years.
Yeah. I really agree with my fellow colleague from here, who is also he's actually my student leader, and I'm also from University of Nairobi. My name is Mark. And yes, I can actually feel the weight. I'm a first year, and it took 8 months to actually do my first semester.
8 months? 8 months.
So I can actually see how it impacts on myself, my parents every time I go home. And really, I would really have to say that, yeah, the impact is really heavy on myself, and it is a burden, given that I feel that I could be doing more with my time, and so could my fellow students.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Do you think on the ground that watu wanajua ni issue gani ina go down? Unajua kuna watu wengine wanakonga kampo, they don't know what's going on. All they know is that they're not going to school. I'd like you to just talk to us and tell us what's the current situation in the universities right now. Are people aware of what's going on, in that they add on to the muscle of the struggle that's going on right now?
My name is Connie Masama. I'm from the Technical University of Kenya. And one thing that I'll say is that we are so much affected. And most of us don't even know what is going on under the ground. Because they keep on coming to school expecting that it's going to be better. But each and every day, it's getting worse and worse, each and every day. So you find that, like yesterday I was in school, and then you'd see like number of students, either in classes or in the lecture rooms, they're just there seated. And when you ask them, they're like, I hope they'll even come today, because they're really frustrated. And another thing that I'll say is, you see, self-sponsored students, they're also being affected so much because they end up paying a lot of money to get studies, but they're not getting anything at all. So they're still in the dark about what is happening, but each and every day they expect something new to come up.
I'd love to hear from the lady closer to you, Selly. She's nodding in agreement. Your name and perhaps which university you come from?
My name is Sharon. I come from Daystar University. And this whole strike is very unfortunate, because when people go to private universities, they're looking to get something different.
Right.
Yeah. The reason why your parent would tell you, no, let's not go to University of Nairobi, let's go to Daystar or Strathmore, is because you expect that things are done differently in such universities. So when we see what's been happening in our school, it's very sad that you'd come spend so much money in school and still don't get value for your money.
Sharon, the thing is with Daystar University, a lot of it has been mismanagement of funds. You guys called for an audit, which hasn't come through yet. The university has been closed down. For those for students within Kenya, or should I say who are Kenyans, they're lucky that they're around home. As for international students, they were given until 2 p.m. yesterday to figure themselves out. Have you talked to a few of your international students? What are they saying? What are their feelings towards them? Where are they?
It's actually very unfortunate because I talked to one from Tanzania.
Right.
And she was telling me she's actually not even looking to come to Daystar until the dust settles down. Because every time she comes to school, like last semester, she was in school and then all of a sudden you have to be sent back home. This back and forth is very annoying and the parents are actually considering to remove them from school. Because no parent wants to see their student, especially when you've removed so much money for your student to get quality education and every time you're being told, you know what, you have to vacate the school by 2 p.m. I mean...
I'd like to just know, are strikes the only way we can find solutions? Because over the years, walimu sahi wamekosa do, they go to the streets. Sindio? Sisi tukikosa sijui nini, we go to the streets. Well. Strikes, they're the only solution. I'd like to know from the gentleman seated right next to Andrew. Wangila.
Okay, thank you. This is Wangila Bomba, the chairman of Meru University. First, just before I answer your question, let me just comment one thing about that strike. It's very unfortunate that this country, the strikes have now become just as frequent as breakfast in parliament. And unfortunately, the government is not really taking some good concerns about it. And some of us are even approaching retirement age when we are still in school. That's the most unfortunate thing. That is actually a tragedy of this nation. And if the government does not stand tall, because these people who strike, definitely they are not madmen or madwomen.
Right.
They strike basically with a reason behind their strike. We look at the lecturer strike that is right now ongoing. This is something that the government had made an MOU with the lecturers, where they taking too long to value what they had owned up.
I'd just like to cut you short. Don't you think that maybe the collective bargaining agreements are usually made out of excitement, out of anxiety? I'd like the lady to just give me the response. Collective bargaining, ile wamekaa chini, wame decide, you know what, from 2017 to 2021, this is what we're going to give you guys. And then the lecturers get back to school, and then it's not the situation. Do you think it's a perfect reflection of what's going on with our government and not the education system?
Okay, my name is Daphne Gethoko. First, let me start by breaking the ice and congratulating the University of Nairobi. Despite the ongoing strike, we've experienced very peaceful elections today. I want to also congratulate the delegates elected and those who did not get elected, you're all leaders. Back to your question. I've always felt that the youth, a nation that does not care about the youth and education is really destroying the very core of national building. We as the youth, we are the most abundant asset in the nation. And I also like what Karl Marx says, or rather Martin Luther, that the voices of the ruling class are in every epoch, the ruling laws. When we have senior senator, we call him Senior Senator Murkomen, going silent about all this matter about the strike. And it's not about failing to make the bargain between the teachers and the government. Well, about me, from when I was a student in Form 4, the system has been so tedious. I think we've had strikes every other year. Can the government come into a solution once and for all?
Daphne,
yes.
Allow me to stick with you a little bit because you are vying for president at the University of Nairobi. Allow me to twist a little bit. If it was the members of parliament who were requesting for their salaries to be increased, we see how fast that happens. Overnight, they sit down and they make sure that their salaries are increased. If it's taking away their cars or their security, they'll be damned about it. But when it comes to students and their education, they're not as proactive as they ought to be. But come election, they'll come knocking at your universities. What do you have to say about that?
Well, that is echoed from what I said, that the voice of the ruling class, they are always the ruling laws. And by that I mean, well, in this I'm standing with the lecturers. They need to be sorted. They need to be hired. They need to be sorted once and for all. We don't want to go back there again. Yes.
Felix, you are from Daystar University. Paint for us an image with we know that there's been an unrest within the university, but there are a few things that even our audience might not know. For example, a few lecturers are yet to be paid. This is a private university. Tell us more.
It's first and foremost very unfortunate that the school had to be closed down. And the reason as to why it had to be closed down, it's because part of the management has maintained a hard stand on the students' demands. The students want ABCD to be done, but the management has said enough is enough. We won't go to this particular extent. Whereas it's been an ongoing problem where students have had bad facilities. Right. Students have complained about poor working conditions. Lecturers have also complained about poor working environment, even within school. Some students just come to school and when probably they miss their grades, it takes almost centuries to even correct the grades. So it's become a very constant issue that has continued mutating, and to the extent that these people have now come to a point where, okay, fine, enough is enough. Let's get to this dead end. Probably it will solve a solution. But from what Aseli asked, he asked, are strikes the only way we can be able to solve the differences? I don't think they are the only way. Although it comes to a point where you say enough is enough, there's always that other person who can come and arbitrate. Can we go to the Ministry of Education? Can you go to the Commission for University Education? Can all the students now within the public universities and private universities hold hands and say, today we are locking Parliament Road until these issues are addressed?
Exactly.
Great
why,
idea.
Exactly why I wanted to ask my next question. I think we're in the same spirit. David and David, you're going to give me answers to this one. Are these easy unions, the universities, are they functional? Ama ni kitu ya kuchochana? Is it a position for, is it a braggadocious position? Ile tunasimama hapo hivyo tunasema sisi wasi wa kampo tuko kimoja, but then when these issues come, we don't actually facilitate these unions to become strong. Kitambo wakina Tomboya walikuwa ni university students and they went to the same universities that we went through. So my question is the university unions as students, are they functional?
My name is David from Daystar University. And first and foremost, I want to share the sentiments of my colleagues. It's unfortunate what is happening. I'm sure many parents across the country are in a lot of pain. And to answer the question that has just been thrown onto the platform, I want to say that the student platforms that are there, I believe they're doing their best. Leadership sometimes can be a catch-22 situation, and it can be a dilemma because you want to empathize with the issue, but then again, pushing things to come out may not be as easy as it is. In the case of Daystar University, I think we've seen our leaders put their best foot forward. They went an extra mile to call the leadership and the management to, so many meetings, attempting dialogues again and again and again. And I think the underlying problem that we also, when they decided to close down the institution, is the cancer that is affecting the whole country, because the underbelly of the problem in Daystar is actually integrity and transparency and lack of accountability. So we have people in power who don't want to be held accountable, all right? And so we have students who are, fighting. They're also affected. They have classes, But the leadership, because for reasons we do not understand, they are not choosing to budge. Yeah.
David, I'd like you to answer this question. Swali yangu ni simple sana. Are we downplaying each other's plights? Because ukiona USIU wakisema wanaenda strike, sasa tunaanza kusema ni masausage na manini na mabaga ati ndo zinawasumbua, hizo ndo zimefanya wameenda strike. Una get? Aya, University of Nairobi tukianza wakienda strike wanasema wase wamezoea kukaa chuo, so ni definitely town yao, it's their playing ground. So are we downplaying each other's plights? Because I think we do not understand each other's plights. That's why nauliza, easy unions ziko functional. Do we understand what's our shield? Because most of the children, the students in the universities don't even understand what the charter says. So ebu tuambie.
Thank you so much. I'm David Ragero from Kenyatta University. First, I'm very sorry for what's happening in the country for 44 days so far. But something tells me the government and the university are just breeding students that one day they will expect to give something back after the end. And what they're breeding now, students, what they're getting now, it's very bitter. They're very bitter with what is going on. And they will expect it back one time. Now, answering your question, I want to say the university unions and all the organizations, personally, the way I think they are not functional. They are not working the way they should be working. For example, if I always say universities always come together on issues concerning politics, when there's a politician involving him or herself in something that is interfering with universities or students, they will always find them demonstrate. When there's a student even who has been killed in a university, you'll always find students demonstrate.
Right.
But now the strike is on. Some students went home. Some have gone to different businesses. Some don't know even what to do. And life has to continue. But what I'm just saying is that the government and the universities, one day they will pay back. And the society currently, there's something they've already missed. The 44 days, they will never recover it.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Andrew, let me... all right. Sure. Take the mic.
I think I disagree with you, David, when you say that the student bodies are not playing their roles. Well, I feel the student bodies have come out openly to condemn some of these things. But what we see is intimidation. You find a certain plight comes up, and the student bodies are taking the front, the front position to ensure that this is addressed. But what do we see? Police all over tear gassing. Right. We even see students brutally murdered. We see students arrested. So I feel it is a matter of ruling class suppressing the students.
Andrew, do you agree with the issue of suppression of students?
I'd like to comment on 3 issues, but let me begin by what is on the floor right now. On the matter of student unions, I was a student leader at the University of Nairobi when we had SONO. But I think the government, through its machineries, have decided to clamp the wings of student unions. There was a bill in Parliament, which was already passed, and now it's a law, that disbanded all student unions and came up with associations. You realize the University of Nairobi doesn't have SONO anymore. They have the University of Nairobi Student Association. It's called UNSA. And the mode in which the elections are conducted do not literally give the student leaders the mandate or the power to control the students. And on the matter of students going out to strike, I think Kenya as a nation has developed a habit of letting people or pushing people to have their backs on the wall. When your back is on the wall, you have no option but to resist. And when the students begin resisting, students are young people who are excited. And when they do something, they want to do it passionately and once and for all. University of Nairobi students often go on the streets, and I'd want to commend Daystar University. You know what the country needs right now is a youth that can demand for accountability.
Yeah, one that knows its rights.
Yeah, our youth, our youth is the backbone of this economy. And the country is suffering from lack of accountability, from the top to the bottom.
Sharon, do you feel as if there's a revolution that is currently happening amongst university students? They're becoming more aware of their rights, like I said. Some of them know that, wait, when this politician does, it is my time you're wasting, it is my education, it's my parents' fees you're wasting. Do you feel as if there's an awakening happening amongst students?
I mean, yes, there is. Like Andrew has said, the fact that Daystar would have the courage to go on the streets and to protest against the misfortunate things that have been going on in the school shows that there's actually progress in the society. There's people are realizing that they actually have the right to receive the best. The best there is. The reason why they pay so much money, or whatever money they pay, I mean, they have right to receive value for their money.
I'd love to hear from that gentleman at the end in regards to that, as if students are knowing their rights.
Personally, I don't believe that. I do believe that students know actually their rights. It's just the willingness of some to actually go out there and enforce them. You find many students actually, how do I put it? They kind of like don't place as much importance on their school time and what they do. They are just, when their vision of what a university is not a place of learning. It's a place of just chill for 4 years, and then at the end you just get your degree, and then you figure out your life from then on.
Right.
I wish I could say that it was that way for most students, but from my perspective, I would not say that.
Daphne made a very good comment. I'm aware that there's a gentleman who wants to say something here, David. But Daphne said something very important, and I felt like we should actually talk about it. Police brutality and intimidation. We're looking at Meru, where there's a student who was killed. Yeah. We are looking at Daystar University the other day, where there is one of the students, Secretary General Bazenga, who was being pulled by anonymous people. Anonymous, but it's true to say that they are known. So definitely, intimidation, tuna deal nayo aje as students. Na tumetry peaceful, tumetry protest. What's the way forward? What's our shield? That's what I want us to know. What's our shield? That way we can be able to protect our people, our very own colleagues. Yeah.
Okay, just before I respond to your question, I just want to say we have different universities even who are presented here. All the universities in Kenya, as student, personally as a student, we have different challenges in our university. Currently, this strike has caused some of the students. For example, in KU, there's a student who was murdered by thugs in KM. And I don't want to blame the thugs. I want to blame the strike. Because if the lecturers could be teaching, maybe this student could be involved in an activity, even doing an assignment, so he could not find himself in where he was murdered. This strike has cost us as students. And there are people who are sponsored even as students, and they'll not go back to the sponsor and tell them, no, I want you to add more days or more funds for my fees so that you can continue. So it is a challenge. Some parents, some people are being taught by villagers, Arambes in the village. You will not go back to the villagers, please add us 2 more years so that you can teach us. So this strike has cost us, and the government will not see. They always not see. But if it was something affecting them, they will have responded very fast.
Felix, feel free.
Okay. I think the Ministry of Education has so much baggage to deal with. At times, they are not able to address students' issues as they come up. I feel the government should now even think of creating a ministry. Yes, there's the Commission for University Education, but a ministry that just deals with university students, because university is just the bridge before the students come out to the outside world. And so if you do not take care of them at the bridge, then you'll have a very big problem to deal with when they cross over. And then on the issue of the Daystar Secretary General, who was almost being knocked down by goons, it's very unfortunate that within the campus, unknown people can just come and pinpoint on you and start harassing you.
They can't be unknown, and
Yes.
there's security.
Yes,
But then
just a
retaliate
minute.
on police brutality.
Yes. So when you go to parliament, there is an act, a parliamentary act that protects the members of parliament within parliament buildings. That if they are supposed to be arrested by the CID or something of the sort, they cannot be touched within the campuses. And I think part of the solution moving forward should be maybe a universal act within all universities in Kenya, that as long as a student is within the campus, the police should not touch them, the goons we should not even be talking about goons.
First of all, I'd like to comment on what David said. I can't blame the strike, because even if we are students, yes, we are suffering, but these lecturers, they need to be paid. They are also parents. They have kids in the university. So I would not like stand here and say that I'm not in conjunction with what is going on. Yes, I am aware of everything, but still, the lecturers need to be paid, because this is something that they sat down and agreed upon. It's only that they've not signed it. And again, even if they strike for 2 months or so, it is fine by us. You know why? Because we don't want a situation like last semester whereby they striked for like 2 months, then they were paid, and then they come back, then they strike again.
Right.
We don't want that. We want that when they come back, let them come back fully, that we know for the next 5 years or 4 years, we're going to learn without having any disruptions. So that is going to be so easy for us.
So you stand with the lecturers?
For me, I stand with the lecturers, you see, because we want to go back to school, fine, but they need to be paid.
Sharon, you guys also stand with the lecturers as Daystar University as well. Is there a sort of unity between lecturers and students of Daystar University?
Yes, there is, because we can see that also some lecturers have been suspended because of this because of them supporting the cause for the students. So we definitely stand with those lecturers because they deserve to have their own opinion. And I'd like to comment about the police brutality. I believe that it's an act of cowardice, that the fact that any moment a person in authority feels like they're being threatened or the authority is being questioned, they send police on students. That's just the highest act of cowardice because it shows that you're not ready to act on the issues that are on ground. Because when students come to you and they're peaceful and they want to have a conversation with you, yet the first thing you want to do is to call on the police, I feel like they're making the police lose the direction because the police are supposed to protect us from harm. Now they're the same people who are coming to cause this harm because if you attack a wounded lion, what will the lion do? It will attack you. So when they come to the students and the students are already fired up, I mean, it becomes chaotic. Because you see, the students are trying to be, ticket, and they're being peaceful about this whole matter. But when immediately the police come, people retaliate because you want to protect yourself. So I believe that the management and people in authority are just making the police lose course because the whole idea of having GSU or police is to protect the citizens from harm. But you see, these same police are coming to cause this harm. Wow. So I think that it's something that the people in authority should really consider, that when you see someone coming to you and they want to have a peaceful conversation, sit them down, have some tea and talk about these issues. Avoid these police shenanigans that you're bringing, and it's becoming chaotic and people have to retort.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so Sharon's point is going to close up this evening's conversation because of time.
Just a minute.
Less than 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think we also need to question the integrity of the education system. If the lecturer strike it boils down to, are we still opening more institutions while we're offering duplication courses? Why can't you just have like 4 varsities, which you can maintain as a nation? That means the nation is not prepared in terms of resources to contain the mini universities.
We may have to cut it at that. We cannot wrap up this topic right now because hata imeshinda serikali na walimu pia. We're still talking about it, and thank you very much for creating time to be here with us. The conversation doesn't stop here. It continues even on social media. I want to make sure that you are part of it. #Youth Cafe. Each and every Friday we come here because we know that we are here to bring the change. I look good because I was dressed by Joel Maluki, and of course, let's meet next week. Change yanzangi leo peke yake na yanzangi Friday peke yake. Tupatane next week kwa sababu hivyo ndio change.
And thank you so